tattoos. You can see the 10-year age advantage for Collazo. They are equal in height at 5'9", at least as measured. It'll be interesting to see who seems to stand taller in the ring. Both seem to think that they are the taller guy. Arm length advantage of 3 inches for Shane, measured from the armpit to the end of the fist, and maybe that's a clue as to who's going to appear longer and taller in the ring. They both weighed in at 147, and amazingly tonight, Mosley's only gone up to 154 after having spent all those years fighting Mosley at 154, and Collazo, the natural welterweight, spending his whole career there, is the one who's gone up unofficially to 160 and will outweigh Mosley in the ring. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Sugar Shane Mosley Luis Collazo fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case it is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards if the 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
You wonder when Luis Collazo is ever going to be the main attraction. He was a 2-week throw-in to fight Jose Antonio Rivera in Rivera's hometown of Worcester, Massachusetts, won a welterweight belt. Then he was the unexpected opponent for Ricky Hatton, gave Hatton all he could handle. Then, with about a month to go here, he replaced Cintron to fight Shane Mosley.
I'm struck by all of the opposites in this fight. A southpaw against a conventional fighter, a tattoo guy against a mustached guy, a young guy against an old guy, an East Coast guy against a West Coast guy, a married guy against an unmarried guy.
And Shane Mosley spent most of his career, Emmanuel, listening to one voice, his father, Jack. Collazo listens to 3 or 4 or 5 different voices of trainers during his training for a fight.
You know, that seems to be a distraction, but I don't think it's going to be because we normally say like a head trainer, the assistant trainer, but for whatever reason they're considering both of those guys as like head trainers. But I'm quite sure they've got it worked out among themselves of who's going to be talking.
They say they have a trainer who governs the overall approach. They have a trainer who trains him for punching power. They have a trainer who trains him for body punching. They have a physical trainer who puts him through his swimming and his running. And incidentally, what's unique about Collazo? Pilates training. He's the first fighter I've heard of who uses Pilates training, the program that was originally developed for injured dancers, and he says it's going to make him stronger than anyone else in the ring. A crowd favorite who hides those tattoos until the last possible minute. Wore a long sleeve shirt when Larry interviewed him in the dressing room so that you couldn't see all the artwork, and you can see that he is carefully covered up here. The artwork will become apparent once he disrobes for this main event.
You know, I have to give Shane a lot of credit for taking on this fight, because normally a fighter of his caliber who's a elite, high-class, high-profile, multi-million-dollar performer only fights guys on that level like a Vargas or maybe a De La Hoya. But whenever a fighter like that fights a younger fighter, it's usually one that doesn't have talent. So this is unusual for a fighter of his caliber, meaning Shane, to go down and fight a fighter, young, upcoming superstar fighter like this. He has everything to lose, very little to gain.
Shane Mosley's 4 losses, 2 against Vernon Forrest and 2 against the southpaw, Winky Wright. Now here comes Shane, and there you see that those 4 losses and the no decision all took place within the last 10 fights, as did the highly controversial second win over Oscar De La Hoya. It's been a rocky passage for Shane.
It's been rocky as he's moved up in weight, but let's remember he was 32-0 as a lightweight. He won the welterweight championship. The only man besides Roberto Duran to go right from lightweight champion to welterweight champion. Although Henry Armstrong did it even better, going from featherweight to welterweight champion. But I think I'd like to point out here is that no elite fighter in his 30s who has moved up in weight and spent any significant time at that weight class, because he hasn't fought a ranked welterweight in almost 5 years, has ever gone back down in weight and been as successful as he was before. None, 0, in the last 75 or 80 years.
So you're saying that history argues against what Mosley at age 35 is trying to do. You saw his wife and manager Jen at ringside. What do you think, Emmanuel?
Well, I think that if anybody can do it, he can. simply because of the fact that even though he's fought as a junior middleweight, to me, he's never been nothing but a welterweight. I think that was kind of reflective of even the weigh-in tonight. So I think he's really back to his natural weight.
He is also one of the superior all-around athletes we've seen in the ring in recent years. More than a fighter. This is a guy who could have succeeded in several different sports.
One more opposite, a snowboarder against a Pilates guy.
That's right. Michael Buffer with the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino of Las Vegas, Oscar De Loya's Don King Productions and Don King Productions and Oscar De Loya's Golden Boy Promotions are proud to present the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing. This is in the welterweight division. Sponsored by Rockstar, Party Like a Rockstar, and Fearless. Pereira versus Marquez, March 17th on HBO pay-per-view right here at the Mandalay Bay. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman Dr. Tony Alamo, Executive Director Keith Kaiser, and the World Boxing Council recognizing this as an interim title bout. At ringside, the three judges scoring this contest, Adelaide Bird, Dwayne Ford, and Nobuyuki Uratani. And inside the ring, your referee in charge of the action, Kenny Bayless. And now, with dedication to the men and women now serving in harm's way with the armed forces of the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing multicolors, official weight 147 pounds, professional record 27 victories, including 13 knockouts with 2 defeats. From Williamsburg and Brooklyn, New York, the former welterweight champion of the world, Luis Jaguar Collazo. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black, official weight 147 pounds, professional record 43 victories, including 37 knockouts with 4 defeats. From Pomona, California, the former lightweight world champion, former welterweight world champion, and former light middleweight champion of the world, Sugar Shane Mosley.
Unrobe, unrobe, unrobe. Okay, gentlemen. Trunks are okay here, just a little high, but okay. Trunks are okay here. Now, gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I want you to keep the fight clean at all times. I want you to protect yourself at all times. And what I say, you must obey. Good luck, touch gloves.
When Collazo's handlers said the other day that sugar melts under heat, Jack Mosley responded that sugar can give you diabetes and is bad for the heart. One of them has to be wrong.
Round 1 begins. Luis Collazo started slowly against Ricky Hatton. Didn't exactly get off in the first 2 rounds, even in his winning victory against, or winning effort, I should say, against Jose Antonio Rivera in Worcester, Mass. So one thing to look for here is, does he throw enough and land enough in the first 2 rounds to stay on an even keel with Mosley? Mosley is known to start fast. He wants to fight from the beginning. Shane immediately goes to work with hard body shots. Collazo tries to answer in return.
You know, I'm looking at Shane as he's 147, and to me, he looks like he's maybe even slightly smaller than Collazo, the way that they weighed in tonight, which shows that it's been amazing what he's accomplished fighting those big guys like Winky Wright.
Shane reaching to the body with the right hand and then up top, partially blocked by Collazo. When they stand together, it looks as though Collazo may be a ½ inch to an inch taller than Shane. Shoulder to shoulder, Mosley missing with the right hand, but working to the body and working well early.
Work out. Shane come out fast, throwing a lot of punches, but he's now, I think, having to slow down in his mind to reassess the situation because he's found out he hasn't been successful in landing anything. And Collazo seems to be just coolly taking his time, placing his punches, and preventing Shane from landing anything. So
and now Collazo begins to release his left hand, and Mosley puts his foot on Collazo's foot and knocks him back with the right hand.
That was almost a repetition of what happened in the Hatton fight.
Very close.
Come on, fella. Stop. Go ahead, fight. No spinning.
Yesterday in our fighting meeting, Mosley proved once again that he does a wonderful job of mimicking what other fighters do in the ring. He knows and understands everybody's boxing pattern. And he did a good job of telling us exactly what Collazo would do. Well, he throws his right and his left. He stays on a line. He moves to his left and fires the left again. And Shane seems to have a very good idea of what Luis Collazo's pattern is.
Shane's hand speed is very good. He hasn't lost his hand speed, that's for sure. I think he just seen with a good fighter that he still hasn't figured out how to be effective with in terms of landing punches.
And you saw Collazo motioning to Kenny Bayless, don't let him hit me in the back of the head.
A little surprise here that Collazo is the one moving forward.
Collazo seems to be very comfortable in this atmosphere, which I was very doubtful about in the beginning.
Well, remember, Collazo's the one who unofficially put on 13 pounds overnight and weighs 160 in the ring. Mosley supposedly only put on 7 pounds overnight and weighs 154. Collazo may well be aware that he feels he's the bigger man there.
I've always thought that Shane was too small for a welterweight.
And now Collazo begins to assert himself in the final seconds of the round. Too small for a welterweight?
I've also thought that, and when he was fighting as a junior middleweight, it was even more amazing.
Interesting first round.
Continue with those right shots to the body. We can get him with some 2-3-2s also. No, you can leave that in there. Okay, looking good. Just relax. And, you know, you want to have that intensity, but you want to relax. But continue with the right hand to the body. And if you get a chance to that 1-2 slant, you know, you can sneak that in there. He's trying to hit you with some right uppercuts, so you got to be careful with that. Huh?
Step and go. Yeah, stand. Show him where he can go.
Collazo's corner now.
Give me the spit bucket.
Don't lay there, baby. Don't lay. All right? Get a rhythm going. He's trying to get his rhythm. All right.
Yeah, everything there, dude. But you got to get that jab and change up on a little bit more quickly, right?
Come on, champ. You're the man.
We mentioned that Collazo was unable to land effectively in the first couple of rounds of his fights against Rivera and Hatton, and the pattern obtains again tonight. CompuBox numbers find Mosley landing 12 out of 36 in the first round. Collazo only 3 out of 41. So Collazo was throwing, didn't land cleanly. Now, as round 2 begins, he starts to try to do a better job of finding the target.
Do you see Mosley having a problem with the southpaw style, Emmanuel?
Yes, I do. He still has not found a way to be effective. He throws that body punch maybe with the right hand, but nothing really effective. And it's interesting, he came out more hyper than what you would expect an inexperienced fighter. Collazo was fighting very relaxed like a seasoned fighter, and Shane is the one that's fighting very hyper like the younger fighter.
You heard Jack Mosley asking Shane to throw 2-3-2s. Translation, straight right hand, left hook, straight right hand.
But Shane is having problems landing anything effective for the most part here.
And there's a straight left by Collazo right on the chin. Best punch of the fight so far. Mosley shook his head as if to say, I shouldn't get hit with that punch. It's a sucker punch.
But so far, it's the cleanest punch of the entire fight.
Let's see if it gives Collazo the confidence to go forward and find the target again. Body shot by Collazo. Mosley reaching to try to get to the body in return. Shane's one of those fighters who hates to be hit without retaliating.
Yeah, and tremendous hand speed by both fighters in this fight. Much faster than a lot of smaller fighters.
Yeah, it's kind of high-speed chess right here.
What a hand speed difference for Shane Mosley, looking at a guy like Collazo after fighting Fernando Vargas in the last 2 fights. Vargas is more like a middleweight. More ponderous, but of course thudding punches when he lands them. Shane still trying to get that right hand to the body because he hasn't really found a way to be as effective upstairs as he wants to be. Now he backs off and relaxes. He told us yesterday he wants to be more and more relaxed. Good, quick right hook by Collazo. More and more Collazo begins to zero in on Shane Mosley's head.
Collazo's a very, very cool fighter. He's taking his time, placing his punches. And both guys, hand speed and upper body speed, head movement, everything is tremendous in this fight.
It's an athletic festival.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at two guys who really are athletic fighters.
Cannot make a mistake, neither one of them, without getting hit.
Good, quick left hand again by Collazo, and he grins as if to say, I'm getting you. And Mosley grins at him as if to say, you like to fight? So do I. Collazo's gotten Shane Mosley's respect already here in round 2.
Collazo doesn't throw a lot of punches. He doesn't have the hand movement to create the excitement, but when he does punch, they're short and they're very effective.
Well, sometimes he will throw a lot of punches. I mean, there's a round in the Rivera fight in which he threw 141. And certainly down the stretch against Hatton, he was throwing, and he seemed to feel as though he got the better of Shane Mosley in round 2. Landing two big shots.
That's all he's doing, all right? He's trying to fake the judges, baby. You did good. You won every 2.5 minutes of that round, all right? Keep doing what you're doing. He's going to bum the rest of you. That's it. Calm down.
Breathe for a second and just focus in now, all right? Let's focus.
All right, take a deep breath, baby. Keep doing what you're doing. He going to come.
He don't Jim. He ain't got nothing more than the guys you sparred with. In fact, he has less. You already know that.
Keep him in the middle of the ring.
It's the 3rd round coming up. Just relax, man.
Yeah.
Work your game. Go to the body. Go to the head.
Right here, you see Collazo backing up Shane with a tremendous straight left hand. And right here, you see him coming back with a right and a left coming right behind that again.
Those two clean punches alone would appear to have been enough to have won the 2nd round for Luis Collazo. And you see that Harold Lederman agrees with that. So we are even in rounds, 1 apiece, or so it would appear, going to round number 3. Both fighters have found a couple of things that might work, and both fighters have failed in some efforts early on, but those two clean punches by Collazo suggest he may be closer to finding an answer than Mosley to the tactical puzzle of rounds 1 and 2. Good body shot by Mosley with the right hand. Shane still trying to bring the left hook behind it. Mosley risking the jab against the southpaw. And landing it right there. Collazo kind of walked into Mosley's jab. Collazo able to block Mosley's right hand with his left.
Their front legs of both feet are both very close to each other. Somebody is going to trip or get knocked off balance here.
But what Collazo's got to watch is he doesn't follow in the same pattern which cost him his fight with Ricky Hatton. He lands punches when he punches, but he waits too much. He's trying to wait till everything is perfect before he punches. And Shane is busy all the time, and he may end up starting winning those rounds without landing a clean punch on Collazo, but just outworking him.
This is where the relaxation can really help Shane Mosley. If his level of relaxation, which he says is greater at this weight, he's not as muscle bound, will allow him to let his hands go and flow freely.
He's fighting a very good fight right now because he's not going to land too many clean punches, neither one of them. But whoever is the busiest guy is going to end up winning the decision in this fight, probably.
Absolutely right, and Shane Mosley seems to have more will to be the busier guy. This has been a shortcoming for Collazo throughout his career. And incidentally, in his one previous trip to Las Vegas, he collected one of his 2 losses.
Look, come here.
Via knockout when Jay Nady stopped the fight that he didn't think should have been fighting.
Lewis, keep it clean, all right? All right, time in.
Kenny Bayless is urging the fighters to keep it clean. I'm not sure what he means other than you've got 2 front feet, as Larry Merchant said. Very close. It's a big right hook by Collazo. Mosley retaliating with the left hand to the body.
This can be a very difficult fight to score.
Because Shane's busier, but when Collazo gets a chance, he lands the cleaner shot.
It depends on what kind of judge you are. That's the kind of fight that this could end up being. One judge may look for a busy guy, another may look for just clean, hard punches. But so far this round, I would give the round to Shane.
Absolutely, he's letting his hands go, and he just knocked Collazo back.
And he's been doing that since the beginning of the round. He's been consistent throughout the whole 3 minutes.
And Collazo seems to be cutting it too fine and hoping to land everything perfectly the way he has 3 shots along the way.
Big mistake.
Left hand glancing blow by Collazo, just not throwing enough to make it work.
Block and punch. Don't let it stay there. Come on. You're giving up the leg movement.
Made it round away now.
All
When
right.
he does this, you should go under.
Under. Let it hit.
Knock it down. You get to let your hook loose, all right? You're holding too many punches now, all right?
Let your combination go, baby, just like we was working. No one punch, all right?
All right?
Come on. Suck it up, baby. Stick that hard jab in there in the chest and start working. You know what I'm saying? He come to you, block, and punch off the blocks. But keep that leg movement. You got to keep shifting.
Hold on, breathe. You got it.
All right?
All right? Now, that body.
Jen Mosley, manager of Shane Mosley, wife of Shane Mosley,
Change your height, too.
one of the leading women in the sport.
Southpaw position to hit with a right hook.
Somebody who is totally unafraid of any man in this sport, whether a businessman or a fighter. She'll talk to anybody. She defends her man as aggressively as anyone can.
All right, let's keep it clean.
First 3 rounds have been tactical and interesting. Let's see if Harold Letterman has scored them the way we think. 2-1 for Mosley. Harold?
Exactly, Jim. 2 rounds to 1, 29-28, Sugar Shane Mosley. Jim, I gotta tell you something. Shane Mosley's trying to win this fight by leaning backwards to get away from Collazo's punches and beating him with hand speed. But to tell you the truth, the way to fight a southpaw is to go to your left and get outside of that lead right foot and make a southpaw reach with his left hand. And I gotta tell you, Shane Mosley is not doing it. He's circling to his right, just like you saw now, right into Collazo's left hand. And Jim, if he gets bombed with it, don't say I didn't tell you. 2 rounds to 1, Shane Mosley.
I think you're exactly right, Harold. He's standing in a position where he might be a sitting duck for Collazo's right hook, if Collazo can let it go. And you heard Byron Oglesby between rounds saying, quit sitting on your hook, let it go.
Well, the most effective punch against Shane, I'm thinking that a lot of southpaws, like Winky Wright used, is your right jab. And Collazo is not doing that.
Now he throws the jab and brings the left hand behind it.
Yeah, Winky was very effective with Shane Mosley with right jabs. And he was coming over his shoulder all the time, whereas right now Collazo is not utilizing his jab enough.
Winky Wright won both fights by tattooing Shane Mosley with the jab. Of course, that's the way Winky Wright wins almost all of his fights. Recently, he's been throwing more power punches and more aggressive. But it's abundantly clear that Luis Collazo is going to have to take more chances and let his hands go if he's going to have a chance to beat Shane Mosley tonight. And in this round, he seems to be getting the message.
And no one is really landing no devastating punch too much, but Shane is for the most part out working it.
Now Mosley begins to go side to side, trying to set up an angle at which he can attack Collazo. Makes Collazo look like the aggressor in the fight. He throws a left hand and misses. Goes back to the body and lands a few punches before trying one more upstairs. Again, that right hook is going to find the target eventually. Straight right hand by Shane Mosley, down the pipe, well thrown. Mosley blocking the left with his right hand. Collazo touched him with the jab and then jumped past it. They set up again. And now Collazo lands a straight left hand.
And if he would finish up with a right jab after that, he'd be very much effective. Because he seems to be able to match Shane with physical strength. And his hand speed, not as flashy, but I think his hand speed is still just as good as Shane's is.
Needs to throw more combinations. Needs to be confident enough to throw combinations. Shane blocks him with the right hand as he comes in. Shane kind of catches his breath. Hits Collazo with a little right hand. Collazo blinking his eyes because their heads came together momentarily.
Might be a little bit of blood alongside the eye, not in a dangerous spot, it appears.
Alongside the eye of Luis Collazo, the left eye.
Correct.
I think that's from the fact that their heads came together. And indeed, there is a cut just above Collazo's left eye.
Lou, you're forcing yourself. Come on.
Son, you gotta just let your hands go. You fine. You hear me? You working. You gotta just box.
Come on, champ. Come on. Wake up. Come on.
Repeat.
You're making the rounds too close, man. Come on. All right? Come on.
Your headbutt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, listen. They go to the cars, man. We down. Okay.
All right? Come on.
You You got to win rounds now, son.
Come on, baby.
Knockouts, forget about it.
Yep.
Right here, you see them both coming together with combinations. Head collided, accidental butt. Shane lands a little tail punch at the end of it, but it's been ruled an accidental butt.
What I've noticed about Mosley is that he's not standing and just trying to wail punches. Recall how he fought Winky Wright when he was in the junior middleweight division. He would try to muscle up. Here he appears to be a little bit more relaxed than just letting his hands go.
Emmanuel, sometimes if your fighter isn't letting his hands go and fighting as hard as you want him to, you're almost happy to see that accidental headbutt in the hope that it might wake him up. It happened to Vladimir Klitschko in Madison Square Garden against Calvin Brock.
And they went to the scorecards. No, DeVarrell Williams.
Well, I mean, I know about that. I'm talking about, you know, the little cut that Klitschko got against Brock.
Oh, you mean that woke him up? Oh,
yes. Woke him up and made him start fighting harder. The people in Collazo's corner want him to let his hands go. Now he's got a little blood above his eyes. And he lets his left hand go.
You know, what is interesting to me, even though Shane is having a difficult fight, which I expected because of Collazo's skill, Shane looks very sharp to me. He looks just like he was when he was younger to me. But just that Collazo was just a good fighter if he'd have fought him at any stage of his career.
No, Shane has fluidity and hand speed, and incidentally, there was a period in his career when he seemed to be throwing one punch at a time, but more and more in recent fights, it looks like the combination skills are coming back.
He said he trims a lot of that because he's not lifting all the weights that he was lifting, trying to be big.
Good move, and there's a big right hand by Shane Mosley. Drives Collazo back into the ropes. Exactly right. The more you watch fighters who lift as opposed to those who don't, the more you think, don't lift.
Well, he was fighting in a weight division where he really didn't belong, and he was trying to lift weights to stay up to that 154 pounds. Now he's back to his natural weight, and he looks much better.
Two lead right hooks by Shane Mosley, or I should say right crosses. Lead right crosses by Shane Mosley, strafing Luis Collazo. And Collazo seems to be falling farther and farther behind in the fight without asserting himself enough. He's got the skills to do something. He has to produce the will.
Yes, Shane is out fighting him with faster hand speed and being busier. No power punching, but just enough speed and landing enough punches to go. And he should do that because, you know, in the beginning, everybody in boxing expects us to go to the limit anyway. So whoever gets out the boxes towards piling up the points is going to win this fight.
Yeah, but Emmanuel, nobody expects a 35-year-old fighter like Mosley to be able to do this, to fight at this level with quickness against a pretty good young fighter.
He's fighting a very impressive fight, and I'll tell you what, I'm a little somewhat surprised myself.
He's using, in effect, his physicality to so far beat a man who's 10 years younger. And then the other question is, who can make better adjustments in the fight? Well, why wouldn't you bet on Shane Mosley to make the better adjustments? He's the guy who's been around fundamentally for 25 years. I mean, people forget he was a child star in the amateurs.
Brilliant fighter. Ever since he was about 8 or 9 years old, he's been a star fighter.
Right along with Oscar De La Hoya. He used to travel to amateur competitions together, and they're still together.
They're still together. He beat Oscar in the amateurs when he did fight.
Take a deep breath. Give him some water. You got him on the ropes, you got him off the ropes, son. You can't let him off the ropes.
Yeah,
you get those points. 4 points. You got those 4 punches at least when you get him on these ropes. And then you can swing out, duck under. But you got him, when you get him on the ropes, you got to throw 4 punches, up and down. All you're going to do is cover up.
There you go.
There.
Come on, baby.
All right, come on, man.
Lou, when he bounces back, you taking him back. He can't fight going back. Okay? Come on. Suck it up.
Hey, you
Okay.
use your
Come on.
legs, son. You see you got a little snap in your legs.
You're getting loose. Come on.
Okay. Keep him on angle, son.
Right.
You're doing great. Pick it up. You can pick it up. I know you can pick it up.
Gorgeous night along the strip in Las Vegas. And after an early look at the crowd here suggested it was going to be sparser than we might have expected, a lot of people have poured in for the main event. So the house looks considerably healthier now than was the case at the beginning of the fight between Vivian Harris and Juan Loscano.
Yeah, I guess it's 6,000 to 7,000.
Right hand by Shane Mosley. Still outworking Luis Collazo. We're into the 6th round of a scheduled 12. There's got to be a moment at which Collazo steps it up. or else he's just going to be erased by Shane Mosley's greater will and determination to win the fight.
And the key punch to this whole fight would be an effective hard jab by Collazo, not the pulling punch that he is. That's the easiest punch that he could land with Shane, but he's not doing it. He's waiting on power punches for the most part.
And he's not a knockout puncher.
That's right. That's why everybody knows the fight's probably going to go to the limit.
And Mosley's only been down in one fight in his whole career.
So why would Collazo be shy about throwing the jab? Well, it's one thing Jack Mosley predicted before the fight. He said, hey, they're both pretty good boxers. They're both pretty quick. They're both athletic. But Shane hits harder. And there's no solution for a guy who hits you harder than you can hit him.
You know, but the odds on this fight, although Mosley's about a 3-to-1 favorite, it's over 2-to-1 that it goes the distance.
And, you know, the only really clean, really eye-catching punches in the entire fight have been the two left-handed landed by Collazo. But still, he's losing in my mind simply because Shane is landing enough half punches, so to say.
Well, Collazo needs to just do that a lot more often. He's proven he can land. Now Shane gets him in a corner and goes to work.
You see, Shane generates excitement a lot of times when he's not even punching because his gloves are not closed, but he's always shaking his hands, shaking his wrists, doing things that catches the attention of the judges a lot, even when he's not landing a punch.
Well, he's a very hard puncher as a lightweight at 135 pounds. He's been in and out a little bit since then, although in his second victory over Oscar De La Hoya, most ringside writers judged him the winner because of harder shots down the stretch. Fight in which De La Hoya seemed to have achieved boxing command, but Shane was determined, worked to the body, landed some shots upstairs. Collazo's had some big moments in this round. Shane Mosley still outworking him. Big question with 17 seconds to go in the sixth. Can Collazo do enough down the stretch, steal this round, and get himself back into the fight?
I don't think so. He landed one good straight left-hand punch early in the round, and that's about it.
Or is he going to find himself down 5 rounds to 1 midway through the fight? And that's a slip, but it also brings us to the end of the round.
You got to do something significant. You got to put him on the ropes, hit him with some good shots every time you put him on the ropes, Shane.
March 10, a pair of heavyweight title fights. First, live at 4:45 p.m. It's Vladimir Klitschko against Ray Austin. Then live at 10 p.m. you'll see title holder Shannon Briggs against Sultan Ibragimov. Immediately following boxing will be Countdown to Barrera Marquez, our documentary-style look at both fighters in anticipation of their March 17 pay-per-view.
Lou, when you get inside, you got to rough him up, man. Fuck that. He's trying to be nice to you. You know what I'm saying? He want to get over. Stop that bullshit. Come on. Let's get down and dirty, man. Let's go. Come on. Watch it.
You heard the instructions from Collazo's corner, get down and dirty. Sometime fighting like it's what the hell is your best strategy.
Can't remember a round in which Luis Collazo has landed in double figures. And looking back at CompuBox operators, I get the shake of the head from side to side. Nope, not a single round in which Collazo's landed in double figures. That's the reason he finds himself in a problem in the fight. Harold Letterman, how bad a problem is it?
Okay, Jim, 59, 55, 5 rounds to 1, sugar Shane Mosley. Jim, forget which way he circles, forget the ring generalship. Shane Mosley's just not punching this guy. I mean, he's doing all the good, solid, effective punching. When Collazo rushes him, he moves out deftly and counters with a nice straight right hand. Shane Mosley clearly winning this fight on clean punching. The one thing that drives me crazy about what Mosley does is, though, he sticks that left glove out, just like you see there, and he opens the glove, and that's illegal. You have to keep the glove closed. 5-1, Mosley.
Emmanuel, how much of this is about the vast difference in experience under the hot lights of Vegas on the big stage?
I think that has a lot to do with it, but I just think that the fact that both guys have such cat-like reflexes that it's difficult for either one to mount any consistent attack. So Shane just naturally being Shane, which means he's always a busy fighter, is winning the fight, probably without landing any clean punches.
Well, at the end of the day, he's Shane Mosley. He's the one who's supposed to be more relaxed in these circumstances.
Shane, he's relaxed, but he's very busy. But it's, you know, he's been in so many great fights you know, he's been through 4 two-fight series that I recall. With Vernon Forrest, De La Hoya twice with Boulders, Ricky Wright twice, Fernando Vargas twice, and still has this type of energy, which is amazing with all those tough fights he's had with those guys.
Stop, let him up. Here we go, fellas. Okay, here we go.
Snowboarding too.
And snowboarding, yeah. He's what's good for boxing.
Bowls
In the
occasionally
ring,
above
and-
200.
Right.
Plays basketball whenever Magic Johnson has a charity game in L.A. Shane is there on the court, showing that he can play that sport as well. Like I said, all-around athlete, Shane Mosley. A guy who wants to compete with you all the time.
Come on, fellas.
And has never refused to fight.
Well, except when he didn't like the business circumstances, such as turning down a third fight with Oscar De La Hoya for $10 million in favor of fighting Winky Wright for $2.5 million.
I forgot about that one.
Stop. Let him up.
And that's a fight that I would have never taken with Winky. Not only is Winky too big, but Winky's good also.
Well, that's the sportsman in Shane. He knew that nobody else was going to give Winky Wright a chance, and he felt like he'd been in that position a couple times. So he gave Winky a shot.
Winky's too much of everything for him, particularly with the weight difference.
Incidentally, you know, just as he lost to Forrest, and people said, oh, Forrest is the wrong style for you, and he went to the rematch. He lost to Wright, and people said Wright's the wrong style for you, and he went to the rematch. That's the kind of competitor Shane is.
Let him swing. Keep swinging those punches, relax and swing them. Don't tighten up, swing them. Okay?
One hand punch, one hand block.
You create things now. This man's getting tired. This is round 8. Every round, you got to win. From here on out, you got to win. You can't rely on anything else but winning these rounds. Okay? You got to relax. And you got to throw, when you get them on the ropes, you got to throw 4 punches at least. Every time you hear that crowd.
Them dudes was faster than this, slicker than this. Come on. Suck it up, champ. Come on.
Focus.
Ain't no tomorrow, man. It's today. You know what I'm saying? Come on, let's go.
Come on, champ. This is your time, man. Come on, champ. You can do this shit, man. Come on.
Come on. Let's zero in on that, man. Come on. He don't punch harder than you. Come on, let's go. He trying to bullshit them.
Let's go, seconds.
Happy Bucks numbers in the 7th round. Mosley 15 out of 45. Collazo 9 out of 61. Collazo still hasn't landed in double figures in any round. And watching him with his closed eyes between rounds, I'm wondering, Emmanuel Stewart, is he getting down on himself?
Well, he may be, and this is something he's not used to, fighting a fighter with those cat-like reflexes, which is making it difficult for him to land a clean punch also.
Well, sure, because when a fighter is always fought fighters who are not as quick as him, and then he gets in with a fighter who appears to be as quick as him, if not quicker, then suddenly things start falling apart.
You see what Shane has been through, that fighting a guy like Oscar, with Oscar had fast hands,
Right.
Vernon Forrest had fast hands, so he's used to that.
Hard right hand by Mosley inside. Another right hand. He may have hurt Collazo with the second of those right hands, and Collazo seems for a moment to hold on. Luis Collazo seems to be becoming discouraged here in the 8th round. Still trying to throw, but Shane Mosley is just overwhelming him with energy and activity. And listening to Jack Mosley between rounds saying you got to win every one of these rounds, I'm wondering where was that in the second Forrest fight or the first Wright fight when he didn't seem to have anywhere near the same sense of urgency.
And you know, it's an experience, I guess, from the corner as well as the fighter. Shane seems to have no more fatigue than Collazo, but the difference is he's an experienced fighter. And even though he's tired, his body will keep functioning as on automatic pilot now.
If Collazo had real power, that straight left hand might have changed the fight because he landed flush on the jaw of Shane Mosley and then landed another one as well. But Collazo's only had 13 knockouts and 27 wins. He doesn't have big pop. Mosley's the one with pop.
Well, Shane Mosley has a tremendous chin, too.
Stop.
Having taken flush shots with both the right and the left hands, Mosley probably knows now that he can take Collazo's best punch. That's not going to make it any easier for Luis to change his imprint on the fight. Just going to have to work harder. Still 5 rounds to go.
You would be hard-pressed up to this point to distinguish which is the younger and which is the older guy.
Absolutely.
If you didn't know.
And especially look at the weight, you would figure that Shane would be bigger because he's been fighting as a junior middleweight. But in this case here, it would be very difficult because Collazo was fighting more like the veteran fighter.
Fight's suddenly getting better, though, in the 8th round, as Collazo seems to sense that desperation time is setting in. However, as he opens up and throws more, the very fast hands of Shane Mosley are answering back.
Shane is very tired also, but he's still fighting.
I'll give Collazo this. He's taken some very good shots. Probably never been in with a fighter who punches as crisply as Shane Mosley.
Certainly Hatton doesn't.
He's tired, Lou. Come on. How long you train, man? Come on. Suck it up, baby. Come on. Come on. Come on. All right? Come on.
Look, he's exhausted.
Lou, we got to win these rounds, man. That's like that, baby. Come on. He's tired. He can't handle you in there, man. Come on, baby. Pick it up. Come on.
Feel good.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Well, listen, boxing. Then set up a hook to the body. Oh, when he drops his right hand, so be looking for that so you can throw a left hook on top.
Right here you see Shane Mosley trying to find a gap between the gloves and the southpaw position. Instead, he goes a right hand on the outside, which Collazo wasn't expecting.
Now watch this left hand land flush.
A tremendous left hand by Collazo right there, but anybody else may have went down but Shane Mosley.
Yeah, it changes the fight if Collazo had more pop and Mosley wasn't Mosley. Instead, Mosley won the round because CompuBox numbers on power shots were extraordinary. Collazo landed 12 out of 56. That's his best round of the fight. Mosley landed 32 out of 48 power shots in that round by CompuBox count. 67%. That's just a brilliant round for Shane Mosley.
And what I like, he throw a lot of those little pity right hands to the inside, and then he'll change up and throw it to the outside.
Well, he does what distinguishes Mosley also in a fight like this is he doesn't try to throw every punch for the same effect. He changes up.
Perfect example was a fight with Fernando Vargas when he knocked him out in the second fight. So once again, you saw him change up his right hand instead of throwing it straight, he changed it to shoot it on the side.
In the last 2 rounds, Luis Collazo has been eating Shane Mosley's right hand. It was fascinating to listen to the people in Collazo's corner saying to him, he's exhausted. He's really tired. Go ahead and swamp him. And Collazo's sitting there well aware that they're not going to be able to talk Shane Mosley away. They can say that all they want, but he's still there.
Be a pretty good idea for Collazo to win the rest of this fight if he wants to win the fight.
That would have been a good idea 2 rounds ago.
Stop. Come on, here we go.
By this time, it already appears that Collazo's in that mode where he's going to have to score a knockout to win. And incidentally, another factor is, let's just suppose for a second that the fight were close. We're in Las Vegas. Shane Mosley has fought here a dozen times or more, almost always in big fights. Collazo's making his 2nd appearance here. He might have had to get a knockout to get a draw anyway.
He's supposed to be the hungry young fighter. He's got to start fighting like that.
Come on, Shane, come on. You're holding, let's go.
Shane complains to Bayless that Collazo's holding him, and Bayless, as though by reflex, says, hey, you're holding him. I'm not saying Bayless is a bad referee. He's actually a very good one. But Shane gets a lot of respect. Collazo tried to jump into position to throw the left hand. Shane moved away at the right moment. See the look of disappointment on Luis's face. Now he lands the left hand down the pipe. He's landed about 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, but it's not enough frequency.
He's not going to knock him out of the ring.
Nope.
Now, where is he running? Why is he running? Can you tell me this?
He's been outfought.
This is the 10th round coming up. So you got 10, 11, 12.
3 more rounds.
You got to win all 3 of them. You can't wait that long when you get them on the ropes. You got to take off.
Yeah. I think he's under pressure putting my neck. Right here on the side.
Yeah, but keep your hands up.
No. You're all right. You be all right.
I understand.
Right here.
Yeah, that's what I know you complain. And rub that. Put some ice. Where's the ice bag?
Right here.
The ice bag on his neck. Listen.
Come on, man. Don't wake up tomorrow and you're going to think you didn't do it. You understand? Keep digging, man. When you dig, he can't dig harder than you. All right, champ? Come on, dig.
Mandalay Bay, beautiful complex here at the south end of the Las Vegas Strip. It has the Mandalay Bay Hotel and the fabulous but unfortunately named Hotel at Mandalay Bay. There isn't a one among us who hasn't had that experience where the car service goes to the other hotel besides the one that you're in, and you're late to your flight at the Las Vegas airport, which is enough to knock your schedule back 2 weeks. But it's worth staying here anyway because it's gorgeous. Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 9?
Okay, Jim, 88, 83, 7 rounds to 2. Sugar Shane Mosley. Jim, he's just outworking him, just like you're calling it. I mean, that's all you can say. Sugar Shane Mosley constantly landing the better right hands. Louis Collazo just waiting and waiting and waiting. I mean, I can't see how the judges could have given him more than 2 rounds because he's just waiting too long, not doing enough damage. 7 rounds to 2, Sugar Shane Mosley.
And every time that Collazo does throw a punch, Shane tries to come back with something. So he doesn't just let him throw a punch and get away. He tries to come back with a counter punch most of the time whenever Collazo throws his left hand.
Well, what's interesting is through 9 rounds, Collazo's rallied enough in terms of output in the second half of the fight that he's now thrown more punches than Shane Mosley. Mosley's thrown 421 punches through 9 rounds by CompuBox count. Collazo's thrown 462. But Mosley's landed more than twice as many, 134 to 62. More accurate, more aggressive, more competitive, not waiting and waiting to land a big shot, as Harold Letterman said. So maybe Collazo rallies down the stretch and wins the last 3 rounds. Would it be good enough to get him a draw? He would have to have had generous scoring up to now. And who's likely to get the more generous scoring? You all know the answer to that. Good tattoos, though. More than 30, he says. And after tonight, Mosley's tattooed him too.
Exactly right. He says he's addicted to tattoos. Well, he found a guy to help him with that addiction.
Good right hand by Mosley.
Good counter right hand.
What you got here is a hungry old fighter.
Good left hook to the body by Shane. That was the punch that terrorized the lightweight division years ago. Straight right hand by Shane. A couple more body shots. Still outworking Collazo.
His speed and the way he's mixing up his punches has got Collazo really confused going down the stretch because he's throwing straight punches, then punches to the outside, punches to the body, a lot of shoulder feints. He's jiggling his hands even when he's not punching. And as a result, Collazo is more focused on what Shane is going to do instead of mounting his own attack.
Shane says, I want Oscar De La Hoya to beat Floyd Mayweather at 154 pounds and send him back down to me in the welterweight division. I'll be waiting. Off of this, it looks like a serious threat.
You got to give it everything you got in these 2 rounds, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to leave everything in this ring. You understand what I'm saying? Fuck the holder, man. Make your own adjustment. Move your leg.
Come on.
All right?
You already knew this.
Yeah. Come on, let's go.
Now, man.
Come on, man. 2 rounds. 2 rounds. You got to go all out. Come on, man. You got 6 minutes in you to go all out. Don't leave it here, man. Come on.
He's covering up. That's going to look good for you. It don't have to be hard. It just look good to the judges when you get those points.
Right.
Okay? When you get him on the ropes, take off on him.
Right here you see Shane land a straight right hand right to the inside, turn his entire head around of Collazo. And this is why, like, he's mixing up his right, and now comes the counter right. So that's why a lot of time Collazo's been a little hesitant about punching, because Shane makes him pay for punches when he misses.
Walking's easy when the road is flat. Goes an old country song. The road is uphill for Collazo. It's a hard road. He's got to take his shot.
And his cornermen have now made it clear they're disappointed in him. They are disappointed in the effort and the output they've gotten out of Luis Collazo in this fight. They were clearly hoping for something bigger than this.
Yeah, but Shane is fighting a very good fight. It's hard to deal with Shane's speed, too. He's still got his speed, which looks very good.
Well, I think a lot of people are going to get interested now in the theory or the hypothetical question, regardless of what happens in De La Hoya and Mayweather. What would it be like to see Floyd fight Shane at 147?
Yeah, he's not demonstrating that devastating punching power because his gloves are not really that tight at the end of the punches. But he's doing what he has to do. And like when he was fighting Fernando, when he realized he could hit him that easy, he tightened up his fist and landed one tremendous knockout with his left hook.
Who has Floyd had to face who is as quick and as athletic and competitive as Shane has been tonight?
Shane is very good tonight, considering the opponent.
I mean, there was a moment before the 2 losses to Forrest when he was the #1 ranked pound-for-pound fighter in the sport and was clearly seen as the best and most fluid combination puncher in the sport. Combinations that flowed like water, like Sugar Ray Leonard in his prime. All that went away against Forrest, but it begins to return in the 2 fights against Vargas and now again here tonight.
Well, remember, Forrest was an undefeated fighter and an old nemesis of his. Very tall fighter who knew how to use his height and was a very good fighter at that point in time.
And I think Emmanuel made a great point. Weightlifting didn't do Shane any favors. He thought he needed it to go up and have armor at 154, but he's always been better off when he can be loose, long-muscled, and let his hands flow.
Yeah, and he trains very hard, so it's one thing that, even though he's been a little exhausted back from the 4th round, he can fight real while he's tired, and that's the sign of a good fighter.
Well, you're clearly looking at 2 gym rats. You can see that. I mean, these are guys who stay in shape. 2 more hard punches by Shane Mosley.
Counter punches, too.
When an older fighter beats a younger fighter, and they say he did it with experience, but Shane Mosley isn't beating Collazo with experience. He's just out fighting him.
His spirit, his energy level, his speed, everything that the young fighter should have. And Collazo is fast himself. But Shane is beating him with the thing that the young fighter should be winning the fight on.
It's
counter punch again.
And Collazo goes down, and that's a knockdown for Shane Mosley, and well-deserved.
Yeah, off-balance knockdown, but it's a legitimate knockdown.
But also his foot was on Collazo's foot.
He's worked hard to get there, and he finally got it. One of the oldest cliches in sports, I was about to say, but it's so true tonight. Shane Mosley has turned back the clock.
3 minutes, man. You gotta let it go, man. Everything you ever fucking got in your life, let it now in this round.
Forget scores.
Forget scoring.
You can't outscore
right,
it. You got to knock him out.
Give me that water.
Sit on that left hand and come back with the hook.
Come on.
He can't fight going backwards. Right. And you set that right hand up nicely. That was nice. You felt you won that round. Do the same thing this round. He's dropping his right hand. You hurting that body, so his hands are coming down. So that the head is open. You can hit him on top of it.
Right here, you see Shane Mosley land the right hand, the same right hand he's been landing all night, the counter punch right hand. And just unfortunately, okay. Right here, you see him landing the right hand as he was coming in. Same that he's been landing all night. And particularly at this time, the legs was crossed up and Collazo was off balance. So officially, it's still a knockdown because he wouldn't have went down Holly without being hit.
Hey, I think it was a real knockdown. Collazo almost danced his way out of it. That's because he's athletic enough that he almost saved it. But the bottom line is he got clocked, as he has many times tonight.
I don't know if Mosley's being real smart here by trying to do whatever he's trying to do, maybe get a knockout. But that's who he is. I think he's fought 11 good rounds. I guess he wants to fight a 12th.
Yeah, and sometimes I think spirited is just as good as smart for Shane Mosley. When you're this kind of athlete, you can outrun some of your mistakes.
Yeah, and there was another good right hand he landed there again. A short right hand to the inside.
And you heard what Collazo's corner said to him, but there's no way it's going to happen now. Mosley has beaten away whatever will Collazo had to win the fight.
Watch your heads! Watch your heads!
Brilliant performance by Shane Mosley tonight against a guy who was seen by many of us as a real live underdog in the fight. And Shane seemed to understand the danger and seemed to know the need to nip it in the bud from the first minute of the fight onward, and he did it.
Well, he was very smart. I think he came out trying for the knockout like he had said before, but realizing that wasn't going to happen, he started piling up the points.
There were no shortage of the people in the sport who said, Shane didn't get any favors when they switched from Kermit Cintron to Luis Collazo. But with a month to change his training camp, get rid of one set of sparring partners, bring in another set of sparring partners, change his tactical approach and his mental approach to the fight, 35-year-old veteran brought all that to bear and got it done. And then came into the ring and used his body and his will to beat Luis Collazo. And what a great body it still is.
And tomorrow he'll be snowboarding in Big Bear.
Well, I'm not sure. Jim Mosley might say tomorrow he'll be home watching 5 kids and doing laundry and helping make dinner.
Well, maybe he'll take the 5 kids snowboarding.
There's still snow up in Big Bear, that's for sure. But Shane is quite clear in saying the minute the fight is over, Jin's the boss.
Well, he's fighting a very good fight tonight, considering the speed and the left-handed style of Collazo and everything. A very good fight. See that? Mixing up his coming. Yeah. And this is what I consider about a good fighter. Instead of coasting the last round, he's going all out the last round to close the show.
Hey, the people in the house paid money for the tickets. And as you said at the beginning of the show, Emmanuel, Shane Mosley never cheated anybody.
No, he's always going to give you a good fight.
Great show. Great show by one of the best fighters of our time.
One of the 3 sugars, and worthy of that title.
All right. Pick him up, Jack.
Harold Letterman, 118 to 109, found 2 rounds in the fight to give to Luis Collazo. And of course, part of that balanced out by the 8-point score for Collazo in the 11th when Mosley knocked him down at the end of the round.
Speed, everything, man. Pick him up, Jack. He punches from the first round to the 12th round.
And we'll take a look at the 3 judges who were charged with scoring the fight. Adelaide Bird, rapidly building up a dossier here in Las Vegas. Had Casamayor beating Corrales in their 3rd fight. Getting more and more big assignments as she goes along. Dwayne Ford, he's in the category with the earlier people you saw, Roth and Moretti, people like that. Had Juarez winning in the first fight over Barrera in Los Angeles. And here's a judge we know little about, Nobuaki Uratani, only 7 title fights. He scored Rock Montoni a draw, and incidentally, that was the official result of the fight with which very few people really argued. And now let's go to Michael Buffer for the official scores in this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards. Nobuaki Uratani scores at 118-109. Adelaide Bird, 119-108. Dwayne Ford, 118-109. All 3 to the winner by unanimous decision. The Sugar Man, Sugar, Shane Mosley.
Well, no booze for that decision. Everybody in the house seems to have understood what they saw here as Shane Mosley puts on a terrific performance for a 35-year-old fighter going against a 25-year-old young gun who was seen by many as having big prospects in the fight. Mosley jumped on him from the opening round and just out-fought Luis Collazo all the way. CompuBox numbers, Mosley landing 113 more, throwing 38 less, more than doubling Collazo's connect percentage. He was the far more accurate puncher throughout the fight. Collazo landing some eye-catching shots here and there, but not enough from round to round to make a difference against Mosley. Power shots, Mosley landing 106 more, throwing 28 more, and again, more than doubling Collazo's connect percentage. Shane Mosley swamped Luis Collazo. Let's see how he does against Larry Merchant.
All right, thank you, Jim. Congratulations, Shane. It didn't seem to me that you were the older fighter in there tonight, were you?
Oh, man. You know, I told you I felt pretty young, but Collazo, he's very slick. And, you know, he took a pretty good punch. when I caught him, I said, okay, maybe he's gonna rock with it, but he stayed up like a warrior. And I just gotta say, Brooklyn in the house, man. He fought this fight, a hard fight, and I know he'll be back.
How concerned were you really when you heard that you were going to fight Collazo, the kind of southpaw you really have never fought before? You've never gone out of your way to fight southpaws. Did you feel that there was some danger? Did that affect you in any way?
Yeah, it did affect me a little bit, how to approach him, how to come at him, because, I knew if I went out too fast, he always can catch me with the counter left or the right hook, and he caught me in the neck. I'm not sure what round it was, and it kind of stung a little bit, but the left hand, so I was kind of weary because I knew he wanted to counter with the left.
Did you know from the get-go that you could handle him, or when did you get an idea that, okay, this is going to be all right?
I think about the third round. I knew that I'd be able to hit him with different shots. I knew I was a little faster than him. I was able to hit him with quick jabs and come over the top of his jab, and it was almost like I was a southpaw and he was a right-hander.
How does it feel to be a welterweight again, something that is certainly more natural for you than being in a higher weight class?
It feels pretty good. I was able to get my shots off, being able to southpaw, but I felt pretty good. I felt a lot on my feet, and I felt like I could, throw a little bit more punches, or a little quicker punch, I guess.
Let's take a look at the future, Shane. Are you going to wait until after Oscar fights Mayweather before you decide what your next step is going to be?
Probably not. I want to keep myself in shape, keep myself sharp, so I might fight again, pretty soon. I don't know, maybe in May or June, maybe June or July, maybe I start looking for a fight then, or maybe June.
So that you want another fight in there, and if Mayweather wins, you would fight him at the end of the year, or you'll go looking for Cotto or somebody else?
Yeah, probably fight at the end of the year, if depending on how Mayweather's fight go. Depending on if he retires or not, it's up to him. But, I'll be ready to fight. I'm going to keep myself tuned up and keep myself sharp.
You are sharp. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you.
And congratulations again. Jim?
All right, thank you.